Did the uni give you equipment to use or cheap?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah.
So the uni had some investment from an alumni, made a massive difference. So we had some equipment, and then the director of photography and I like started a small business at uni, like filming things like this, and like doing videography work, and we just never took money out of the company.
Right.
So we just kept it in because we had student loans, so we were like, okay, there's only so much we can spend on beer. And so we left it. We kind of left it in the company, and also we bought an iMac for editing our client work that doubles up as editing narrative stuff.
Yeah.
And so we found this quite nice kind of ecosystem where we were just basically funding our work, and then we did some little tricks like with our cinema camera. We shot the film on like these Panasonic cinema cameras, and the cinematographer reached out to Panasonic and was like, oh, can we try these cameras for 2 weeks? And then I reached out and was like, could I try the cameras for 2 weeks? With like a day overlapping where we had two cameras. And they basically sent like one camera to us for free.
And they do that kind of thing?
Well, I mean, I don't know if they still do, but...
Top tip.
Yeah, but...
Don't you have to be someone for that? Well, like as like an influencer, let me try it out, post it or something? Or no, they
bought into the project, right? I think that's kind of what it is. It's an exciting project to be a part of, and I thought we put into good use.
Right.
That's great.
Cool. And then from there, so you had then you moved from the student projects to Rider. Right?
Yeah. And there was quite a long time between them. It was 3 years between those two.
With other projects.
No, I mean, so after that, like we had COVID, and that we graduated into COVID. And that meant that every job that was out there for being an intern like vanished like overnight, because people didn't want to have to have another person on set when you needed essential people. And I'm not from London as well, and so like the money that I put aside to like move to London and just try and make it work just like got sipped away at like being at home. And it just took quite a while to like finally convince a production company to take me on and get some income, and when they did, I became a production assistant, and then finally moved to London in like 2020, end of 2021.
It was still COVID, right?
Yeah, I basically moved to London during COVID, and all the money that I'd earned production assisting to that point, and anything I had left over from that company, I put into paying for my rent, and moved down with like £170 in my bank account.
Wow.
And I was just like, because I'd been at home for a year and a half, and I'd been getting the odd job here and there, and it was just not really working. And I was like, I just need to be in London. So I just was like, fuck it, I've got to just try and I've got to push it. I've got to force the issue,
Right.
And I did, and I ended up kind of pursuing production because there was more work in that way.
Right.
And so I produced some commercials for a while, and while I was doing that, kind of built up
with
connections.
A company, right?
Yeah, well, I was a freelancer,
Sure.
so I was going between different companies, and I just at one point was just doing all these jobs, and thought.
Did you say you did some music videos?
I did do some music videos, but not for. I did one like 2 years ago, probably when I was writing Rider, actually. That was for like Fast and Furious 10. That was
really?
quite funny, yeah.
You did some big commercials as well.
I think I was quite hungry, and I obviously wanted to like be able to afford to live in London as well. So I just like worked.
What kind of stuff?
I did a quite big commercial for Swatch, and we shot out in Barcelona, and then we did another one last year in Cape Town. But it really teaches you a lot, actually, because as a producer in commercials, like you're dealing with, like the Swatch one we did in Cape Town was a big, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of crew, and you learn a lot about yourself and how you manage people.
Yeah.
how you fail to manage people sometimes.
I'm
Like,
sure
you know,
every project
yeah.
you must be learning.
Yeah.
It's probably good to do a variety of different types of jobs, then you pick up different tips and tricks and from
Yeah.
each one and incorporate it into your toolbox as a producer or writer or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also get like, you get some 50-year-old grip who will tell you exactly what he thinks of you to your
Right.
face.
Really?
Yeah.
You'll just be able to set yourself on a good time, and some like old school grip will just come up to
Really?
you and like,
What does he
get in your
think?
face.
What is that? Because you're young and
Yeah, a bit, because you're young and like, or they, you're doing something different to how they might have done it, or like, and the tricky thing is in production is that like you're the face of bigger, wider issues in the industry. Like if budgets are being cut everywhere and people are being expected to work longer for, not necessarily low rates, but people are being expected to work longer and they might not have as much work. So at home they've got, greater financial pressures, and you come on set and you're like this young person who's asking them to work for like 12 hours instead of like what should be 11, they'll come up and grumble at you, or and I think that you become the face of a bigger problem, which is like it's not us who's making the budget smaller, it's like the agencies and the clients, and also like I guess I don't know, I'm not really there to speak about it on like the features side of things, but I hear that features are also getting tighter on budgets, and so like the producer ends up taking a lot of heat for actually bigger problems within the industry.
Right. Yeah.
And I think sometimes like you can come home and blame yourself for those things.
for
And
not having a big enough budget to keep everyone happy.
Yeah. And like directors as well, like they can get mad at you if you've not got all the toys that they want and you can afford, and you end up in a situation where like you have to just like be able to have a thick skin. And I think that like I don't think I've got a particularly thick skin yet, but it's definitely thicker than it was.